Aquarius, this is your December 2025 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, it's your reading. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel and for all of your support over the last 12 months. It's Romy here. Let's see, we are going to open up for you this month with the energy of the Ace of Wands. What did you lose and what did you gain? I think there's going to be a lot of reflection around that this month, and December brings like an honesty with it, and that's going to really support you as you consider what needs reorganizing so that you are in a position to say yes to what this Ace of Wands is delivering. There's a new opportunity, a new beginning, a chance here, and with every fiber in your being you want to take it. But that's going to mean some things have to change. And so as you deliberate on that through the month, and there's no rush with this, okay? Because, it's a season where a lot is going on, and, we have to gift ourselves the opportunity to just rest and reflect. But what this represents is very much going to be on your mind. And over the course of the month, I think you're going to come to some pretty powerful conclusions. Now, we will welcome the full moon in Gemini on the 4th. And there will be information that comes to light, news, an important conversation, something that translates into almost like a deeper understanding for you about what that next step needs to be or what it looks like, okay? And you are literally leaping forth here, but the fact that we've got the incense all around her says and suggests that there's something to clear up in this month. And it's important that we make peace and that we find acceptance so that we are free from any kind of resistance and any kind of narrative or storyline, because really we know that what we look for we're going to find, right? So where are you looking? In what direction is your focus? And is that actually what you really want? It's just a reminder, you've heard these themes before, but they come back around in December with this honesty that really helps you to ponder things in a new light. So that full moon in Gemini, fellow air sign, so, something is uplifting in a way in terms of that information. And on the 6th, Mercury, ruling planet of Gemini, is then trining with Jupiter. And it almost feels like that's the support that you need. Whatever it is, it's like giving yourself permission and, circumstances and events coming together and something having a little bit of luck associated with it. So it kind of feels like right place, right time. But Mercury is the messenger, remember, and that message is being amplified and expanded by Jupiter on the 6th. So pay attention, because your Daughter of Staffs, your Page of Wands, is saying that it's in the communication, in the messaging, in the networking. It's that exchange that happens where the light bulbs start coming on. And all of this fire energy showing up is telling me that you're feeling motivated or inspired in regards to something. Now, you're in 11th house through Sagittarius season, the first part of the month, and the vibe of the group matters, right? You're super sensitive to it. And I think one of the things that you're really also contemplating is what it is that you're going to need to sustain the things that you want. You want to continue having around you, or you want to make your way towards. And, understanding what it's going to take. It's also just going to help to direct the right choices and decisions. Now, we've got the energy of the Two of Cups here. I'm going to say to you, I feel like you do have a really lovely surprise coming through in the course of the month. But almost like ahead of that, there's like something that we need to get past or move beyond. And on the 8th, when Mars squares Saturn, it's a little bit of a tough one. It can build some resiliency in you, right? But you may feel like you're having to sort of knock the door, knock and knock again, and then kind of really give it a shove to sort of open up the pathway or the dialogue, or just like something feels like harder work than it should be or it ought to be. But do you know what? It's kind of worth it, because I feel like it's going to show you how much something means to you and how much something matters. And it's almost like once you get past that initial challenge, something comes together in quite a beautiful way. There's a really lovely alignment here. And there's a sense of intimacy that comes up in this month of December. And sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to create that intimacy in our own life. We need to just make our world really small. And if the chaos of the season, if the craziness and discord and the spiraling out energy that can come with December is landing and triggering, then that's the focus that you bring to it, right? You just breathe in, you breathe out, and you make your world really small and intimate. And from that place, a deeper sense of presence is found. And from that, it feels like something comes to light, or there's some really beautiful gift that shows up for you. Now, I have a sense that something feels super complex, and maybe as you try to figure it out, you're not necessarily going to be able to do that in December. And maybe there's a urgency from your perspective, like, I want this dealt with before the year ends, like I don't want to carry this forward. But I think maybe sometimes there are those moments where something just needs that little bit longer, to really be considered, or to process, or to show itself in terms of what what is teaching you right now, or but there's a peace, I think, in allowing that, and knowing that I don't have to have this figured out in December, and it's not going to be figured out in December. But in some ways you can still kind of draw a line and have some sense of surrender, so that something feels less charged in the month. So, maybe that's a relationship scenario that's playing out with that Two of Cups showing up. Maybe it's something that you really want and you're working really hard towards trying to make it happen. Whatever it is, but you feel like there's some aspect of it that's complex, and it just needs something more than you maybe have the ability to give right now, physically, energetically, financially. More fire showing up here with the Knight of Wands, and look at this coming through here. December is absolutely a time when we are, in that season of release. However, don't turn away from what is also stirring in your soul. And also be reminded that the element of fire, which, by the way, we will come back into with a resurgence toward the end of April as some of the outer planets return into Aries after their brief stint back into Pisces. Like, the thing that we can really learn from the fire element is also how to transmute things. And so, you can work with it in that way in December. It doesn't have to be about getting creative or inspired or birthing new things if really you're at a point of depletion, exhaustion, and just needing to find some stillness, or even just switch off and detach from, a lot of the stuff that has been, all encompassing the last few months. So the fire can burn and clear the pathway. It can bring that sense of clarity back. And that's where the honesty needs to come through. What is it that you really need right now? And as you think about what you've lost, but also what you've gained, there's also a deeper appreciation that comes up for you, Aquarius, about that lived experience. And, we're going to see Neptune going direct on the 10th of the month. Remember, we're also in 11th house, which is a reminder about your hopes, dreams and ambitions. And I think that Knight of Wands is also sort of coming through as a messenger, but bringing something forth along with the Magician. Love that. That really helps you to see what is changing and what you are committing to change, and what you have within you to make that happen. And I think that last sentence is the most important one. What you have within you to make that happen. Okay? So look out around that time of the month to see how some of the dreams, the ambitions, the new things that are coming online are showing up really strongly, because they're giving you a bit of a heads up and an insight as to how you're going to move through the year of 2026. Now, the 14th does see Mars squaring Neptune, so it kind of feels like 1 minute you've got the transmission or the insight and it feels like crystal clear. The next minute everything gets really foggy and illusionary, and you're kind of back to that sort of state of uncertainty. Let it pass. It's temporary. also know that Mars is shifting into Capricorn that day, and that, you know, you're going to be given a little dose of focus and stamina in order to drive something forward when you need to, right? And when it feels right for you to do so. Because, you know, more than anything else, what this year has taught you is how to honor where your physical body is, you know, coming from. Is that in alignment for what it is that you're about to undertake, or what it is that you want to do? You know, does your body want to rest and you're trying to push through? You know, or is your body like ready to go, and yet, you know, you're distracting yourself with other things because there's a limiting belief or resistance in you that you're not capable or not worthy, or whatever is surfacing at that time. So, you know, December, even though it brings with it a nostalgia, a consideration of giving yourself permission to take some time off, some time away, perhaps returning to, you know, holidays, sort of family dynamics. You know, there's all sorts of things that can be super charged emotionally, but also really beautiful, that show up this month, you know, when we really settle into what our experience is meant to be. But I just think that there's this current that sits beneath it for you. And you owe it to yourself to just listen and keep an eye out and an ear out, really, to how your guides are sort of dropping these downloads through to you about where next. You know, it's setting you up, it's preparing you, and you really want to be trusting in the signals that are coming through for you. Now, you know, there is some stress there. It's not unusual to see it at this time of year, but I also think that the stress is coming as a result of actually really feeling into this, and it kind of activating something in you pretty powerfully. But there's also this part of you that's like, when it's been hard for so long, right, we have to teach ourselves to embrace what it would be to be easier and lighter. Because I think there's something about this that's sort of effortless and wants to just put you on a path that feels more natural, course correct you to a place that just feels like it's meant for you and right for you. But we can be the thing that creates resistance, because everything in our life and the way it's unfolded in the last few years has said, you know, this won't work, this can't work, you know, or we've been, you know, knocked on our ass time and time and time again, right? So you might come up against that in your thought forms, and maybe some of that stress is brought on because it's just like, well, I'm feeling this, but, you know, can it really work? And that comparison to some of the pathways that you've had to endure and what you've had to go through, you know, and that's really real in your lived experience. But December wants to renew the hope and the optimism, you know, and all we're asking is that you just hold an open mind and an open heart for that occurrence, right? Because what's the alternative? That you turn away from that completely? That you never believe again? Like, where is that going to place your energy? Now, the new moon in Sagittarius, excuse me, on the 19th, comes in with, I want to say like some sort of invitation. And there's deliberation on your part, right? It's kind of like, is this good for me? Do I want to go? Like, I'm in the headspace for it. I kind of want to say to you, like, just give yourself the chance, give yourself the opportunity, right? So whatever it is, you've changed, and maybe this is a chance for you to attend or to participate or to show up in some way that gives you free rein to be that new person. And 2026 is going to be about the way that you show up with a new sense of self-expression. And you're already feeling into that. This tells me that you are. So maybe that offer and that invitation is divinely timed so that you can kind of road test and experiment a little bit with yourself. And you know what? You should be proud. You should be proud of what you've achieved, proud of, you know, what you've been through and how you've handled things. And, you know, I think that it is up to you to both acknowledge, to celebrate, and also to share that in a way that feels safe and that feels good for you, right? So we come up to the 21st and solstice, and you're going to want to mark it, you know, even if it's not a date and time that's held a lot of significance for you. There's something about this year and really feeling like you want to honor and move with the flow of that energy that brings in a seasonal realignment, because it feels like it's sort of somehow providing like a closure in your energetic pathway that you've walked in 25. And again, really sort of setting you up and preparing you. So you'll feel that energy perhaps more strongly than you ever have before. And that's going to be a really special experience for you. So something spiritually happening for you around that time that I also want you to pay attention to, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense in the moment. It's really going to be something that your mind and your heart returns to over and over again in the weeks and months to come, I promise you. So, you know, December feels like a clearer month than we have experienced in terms of the end of the year for the last few years. And in Capricorn energy, as you allow the closure and the letting go and the healing to surface, the vibe feels different. It will just feel different. You'll be like, okay, yeah, you know, there are still some really hard things about life right now, but maybe I'm just more prepared, I'm more resilient, I'm more adept, I'm more focused, and I'm more embracing of how I am being directed right now, because I'm trusting, not even just trusting in the plan, but trusting in yourself. And I really think that you're going to be at a space and a time where you can look in the mirror and you can be like, you know what, I believe in you. I believe in your ability to figure this out. So we're going to go ahead and just clarify these cards. If you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we look at in my extended reading. I talk for another 25 minutes or so. We'll also look at a personal and a relationship card for you, okay? So I do hope you'll join me. It really supports the channel. High Priestess, we've also got the 6 of Earth coming through. We have the 7 of Water. Might be a little confusion with regards to some information that someone brings to your door. Maybe again that Mars squaring Saturn on the 8th. Pay attention to that. 9 of Cups, 8 of Cups coming through. 9 of Wands, another Magician. I love that Magician for you this month. You have to like take advantage of that, right? You know, what is it you're trying to do, to achieve, to create, to change? You've got it in you. There's the old disappointments that get in the way though, right? 4 of Fire. King of Earth here. You know, I think as well, like if you have experienced through the course of this year, like more profound fluctuations in, you know, your prosperity, the prosperity consciousness that you're holding is also going through like a real period of transmutation. And you know, I think you're also going to be given some really clear direction on what needs to be resolved or healed, and to embrace some of the things that are showing up that are going to help get you to a better level, a new level in 26. Okay, so this is Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my deck, and we've got Queen of Fire, Sacred Inner Flame. Love that for you, with all the fire showing up for you in December. And then finally we have Weather the Storms, Let It Change You, Embrace the Unexpected. Thank you so much, Aquarius. I hope you'll join me for the extended. The link is below. Have a beautiful end of year, holiday season. Be kind to yourself, be at peace, find balance. I appreciate you. I'm going to see you again next time. Bye for now.